Yo, I'm Bob, totally blind since birth into Star Wars. Going to be talking about episode 1 of Andor on Disney Plus. So, spoilers for the TV show and subsequently Rogue One lie ahead. Watch them both before listening to my thoughts, or man, you guys going to get spoiled. With that being said, I'm getting into the episode. Quite a few things I liked about this episode. So, when walking out of Rogue One, walking out of the theater back in 2016, I was really captivated by Diego Luna's performance. We were introduced to a guy who had done who knows how many questionable things in the name of the rebellion. And when this show was announced, I was pretty happy. I wanted to know more of his backstory. And I'm glad there's quite a lot of time to flesh this character out. I like the flashbacks we got throughout episode 1. So we learned that Andor, Cassian Andor's from Kenari. We learn that when he was a kid, he was raised by, best we can tell, a 16-year-old girl, according to the descriptive audio track. It's a village full of kids. There are no adults there. I do believe Andor was living on a separatist world during the Clone Wars, and something unfortunate happened to all the adults because you've got this girl and she's in charge of everybody else in that village. They're, having to live by themselves, and she's trying to, lead them all as best she can. And he's looking after this little girl, which is of course his sister. So I really like the flashbacks throughout the episode. So there's this opening scene where he's in this bar and he's looking for information about his little sister, his long lost sister. And he's not getting the information he needs. To make matters worse, these Preox Morlano morons, as I like to call them, they're a couple officers in there. They're not supposed to be there. They're on the job. They're drinking. They're trying to get a rise out of him. They want to start a fight with him. They are making every snide remark they can to get his temper flaring up. He just wants to get the information he needs about his little sister, and he wants to get gone. But of course, he doesn't get the information he needs. But he does let the bartender, he lets her know who he's looking for. He lets her know about Kenari, so now there's a world that can be associated with him. She knows what he looks like, so that information's out there. Then he just leaves. He's not getting what he needs, and he just wants to get gone. He wants to get back to his planet, which is Ferrix. And then we get this really cool scene in I don't know if it's an alley or what. I got to watch the episode a fifth time, I guess. I love how the two morons come out of the bar. They're following him. They're heckling him. They're telling him to stop right there. And I get the sense that they have picked on quite a few people before Andor. They come up with some BS fees. I'm willing to wager they don't exist at all. At all. These guys just want money that they don't deserve, and they're trying to squeeze it out of whoever they can, just making trouble for folks. And he's like, guys, I have 300 credits in my coat pocket. Just frisk me. I'm not gonna move. Just get it out of there. Of course, he doesn't have that in his pockets. I don't think he does anyway. And he winds up bashing his head into one of the guy's faces. And the first guy, he accidentally dies. The descriptive audio track isn't really clear as to how he dies. I know one of the guys is punched in the throat, and I don't know if that's Furlough. He's the guy who's killed first. He might have accidentally hit his head, and it was an accident. I mean, I think Andor would have left well enough alone. I think he did want to teach him a lesson before he left, but hey, first guy wound up dying. And then you have the second guy who's not in charge anymore. His buddy's dead, and he starts babbling. He's like, "Oh, it was just a joke. Yeah, that's it. We'll both go in, and we'll kind of tell them how it happened. We were just playing around. You didn't know we were playing around, and that's how he died. That's how he died. That's exactly how he died." And Andor's like, "Nah, well, you know what? He just pops him in the head. He just shoots him in the head with a blaster, and that's it." And of course, this is one of those things he probably shouldn't have done. He probably should have exercised a bit of forethought. But I mean, I don't know, when you're in a situation like that with a guy wielding a blaster, they're wanting your money at first, but if somebody else is wielding a gun and you're not sure how things are going to go, you're going to want to get that gun, and you're going to want to defend yourself as best you can. So I mean, Andor is just looking out for Andor, and now of course it can't be taken back. He's killed both of them, and he doesn't have the information about his sister. He's got to get off of Morlano 1 and back to Ferrix, which is where he hangs his hat. And I like the stuff that we get pertaining to the Preox Morlana, this company, this corporate government that governs Morlana 1, Morlana 4, Ferrix, where, of course, Andor hangs his hat. So now he's in trouble. He's got to get the credits he needs in order to get off of Ferrix. So he's trying to meet with a girl named Bix. I think I get the sense anyway that this might be an ex. And she's trying to figure out what the heck he's done, what kind of trouble he's gotten into. He's not willing to talk about it. He just needs money to get off world. He needs a clean slate. Of course, he's not in the rebellion yet, but he's messed up big time, and he needs some money to get off world. So, you've got that going on. You have her employer, Tim, and Tim is not really trusting Andor. He's kind of worried about his relationship with Bix because now they're seeing each other. I think he's jealous of Andor, and he doesn't want anything to be rekindled there. So he's definitely going to be doing something stupid, as we'll see in the next 2 episodes. I've seen the first 3 as of this video being filmed. So that's going on. I like the new droid. What's his name? B2EMO or B2EMO. We get introduced to him in a very disgusting fashion. He's trying to get home to Andor, and he gets peed on by this Corellian hound. Poor guy. As C-3PO says, I'm paraphrasing in A New Hope, I'm guessing, he says something like, we seem to be made to suffer, it's our lot in life. And that's apparently true, because, man, this little guy, he just wants to get home to Andor. He's got to lie for Andor, make up stories as to where Andor has been, and it apparently costs him a lot of energy. And in order to lie, if he lies too much, he's got to recharge. And so that's going on. Andor's trying to come up with a cover story as to where he was. He's got a buddy named Brasso, and they're kind of working out a story like, hey, I was over at your place last night, okay? And we drank until we fell asleep. That's exactly where I was. So if anybody asks you, that's where I was. That's going on. And I think one of the things that really interested me in this episode was Deputy Inspector, what was his name? Cyril Karn and his boss, Chief Inspector Hine. And these guys, of course, they work for the corporate government. They work for the Preox Morlana. And you have Deputy Inspector Karn. He's investigating the double murder. He's written this report overnight. He's burnt the midnight oil. He seems like he's this straight arrow company man. He's like, hey, boss, 2 guys have been murdered. And I worked on this report all night. Here it is. What should we do next? We got to investigate what's going on. This cannot stand. And his boss is like, well, you know what? Our public image needs to be sterling, okay? So we're going to need to keep this quiet. We are independent of the Empire. We don't want them coming in and making things difficult for us. We don't want our crime rates to go up. I mean, they'll leave us alone just as long as we don't have too much crime. So, these guys weren't doing what they were supposed to. They were drinking on the job. They were picking on somebody. So I want you to fill out an accident report while I'm gone to a regional command review. I got to go meet with some Imperials. I got to tell them that everything's fine. I got to go tell them that there's no crime here, and you're going to need to come up with an accident report. And I mean, I don't know if Cyril Karn's mommy and daddy worked for the company as well, but I mean, I'm not sure how old he is. He sounds rather young to me. So you have this guy who kind of has the rug pulled out from under him here. He realizes that his boss is corrupt. He realizes that the company that I get the sense he loves working for may not necessarily be all that it's cracked up to be. And he's got this nervous energy about him. Karn's got this really frantic, nervous energy about him. He's just really wanting to get this murder solved. Seems like he hates disorder. He hates laziness. So throughout the episode, you see him, after his boss leaves, he's still investigating. He's not going to let sleeping dogs lie. He wants to know what in the heck's happened. And nobody's really cooperating with him. He notices that a ship left Morlano 1, and he wants to know where it went. Nobody really cares about it, and he's got to start raising his voice. And I get the sense that perhaps in the future, Cyril Karn is going to be gunning for his boss's position. Either that, and/or sorry about that, I didn't mean to make that pun. And/or he's going to become an Imperial. Right now, I mean, he's not directly involved with the Empire, but I'm wondering if he's disillusioned. I'm wondering if he's eventually going to be like, you know what? I don't like this company. I want to be with people that respect order. I don't really care for this whole double murder thing. You want me to come up with this story as to how these two guys were in a fight, and I can't do that. It's not cool, man. So you have Karn here, and he's going behind his boss's back while Inspector Hein is gone, and that's what he's up to. And I really hope he does become an Imperial later in the future. I really hope they don't make him a rebel at some point. I want him to be a part of the Empire. I think it's cool to have redemption in Star Wars, yes, but I kind of like the idea of Deputy Inspector Cyril Karn eventually becoming an Imperial. That's kind of what I want. I don't know if we're going to get that or not. Either way, to have him as Andor's antagonist here, I think it's going to be pretty fun. From what I've seen in the first 3 episodes, I like where they're going with this character. So watching him frustrated, trying to, bring about order in this company with a bunch of lazy people, it's pretty fun. So I think that's about it for the first episode. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've forgotten. If there is, I guess I'll have to do afterthought videos. I don't really want these to be uber lengthy. It was a really fun episode, in spite of the fact that we really didn't get a lot of action here. I do like character development, and I think Andor being split up into 4 3-episode story arcs per season, I think it's a pretty smart idea. We're going to get to see the action ramp up as the arcs ramp up themselves. So that's kind of cool there. Anywho, that'll do for this Star Wars episode review. I'll hear you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you.